The sky above the planet was dark with smoke. Fires burned in the distance, and the ground trembled from the heavy steps of war machines. The city was broken, its towers cracked, its people hiding or running. In this chaos, Corporal Eli Ward moved, fast and quiet through the ruins. He wore heavy armor and carried a rifle, but his eyes showed more care than fear. He had seen many wars, too many, and he no longer looked for glory. He only wanted to do what was right. His unit had been sent here to end a slavery regime that had ruled for decades. The alien species known as the Krelltech had used humans and other weaker beings as slaves. Now, the human-led peace force had come. To stop them, Eli's team entered a large compound behind enemy lines. The walls were tall, lined with barbed wire and old symbols carved into the stone. Inside, rows of cages stood like prisons. Some were empty. Others held thin, frightened. Figures, different aliens, all chained, all silent. Eli walked slowly past them. He could feel their eyes on him, wide with fear or hope. His heart hurt. He had seen slavery before, but it never got easier. "Check every room," came the order over comes. "They might be hiding something." Eli nodded and moved toward a side door. It was locked, rusted shut. He kicked it once, then again. With a loud creak, it gave way. Inside, the room was cold and dim. A single light flickered overhead. In the far corner, curled up on the floor, was a small figure. She was not human. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes large and silver. Her limbs were thin, covered in bruises and old scars. Chains wrapped around her wrists and ankles, bolted to the wall. When she saw Eli, she flinched. She pulled herself tighter, trying to disappear. Eli raised his hand slowly. Hey, it's okay," he said softly. He took off his helmet so she could see his face. He smiled gently. "You're safe." "Now," he whispered. She didn't move. He stepped forward, slowly, and knelt beside her. She shivered. He reached out, and for a second she tried to pull away, but then she stopped. She let him touch her arm. Eli looked at the chains. They were thick and strong. He pulled out a tool from his belt, a small cutter used for cutting metal wires. He started working on the lock. Behind them, the battle raged on. Explosions shook the building. Gunfire echoed through the halls, but in that small room, there was only silence. Finally, one chain snapped, then another. One by one, they fell. She stared at her free hands like they weren't real. Eli offered her his hand. "Come on," he said. "Let's get you out of here." She hesitated. Then slowly she reached out and took his hand. It was small. Cold, weak. Eli helped her stand. She swayed, nearly falling, but he caught her. Outside, the noise grew louder. Shouts, running feet. Orders shouted over radios. Eli looked down at the girl. "Can you walk?" he asked. She tried. Her legs wobbled, but she nodded. He put an arm around her, supporting her weight. Together, they stepped out of the dark room and into the smoke-filled hall. The compound was falling apart. Fires had spread. Smoke filled the air. Soldiers ran past them, shouting, shooting. Eli kept moving, shielding the girl with his body. Then a blast hit nearby. The shockwave threw them both to the ground. Eli landed hard. The wind knocked out of him. He rolled over, coughing. The girl cried out. A piece of metal had cut her leg. Eli grabbed his shirt and pressed it against the wound. "It's okay. You're okay." A voice came over his radio. "Ward, fall back. We're pulling out." Eli looked at the girl. Her eyes were full of pain and fear, but also trust. He tapped his radio. "I'm coming. Just need a minute." He lifted her into his arms. She was lighter than he expected. With every ounce of strength left in him, he ran through fire, through smoke, past fallen enemies and broken walls. He didn't stop until he reached the extraction point. There, a transport ship hovered low, doors open. Soldiers were boarding. Eli climbed in last. He placed the girl gently on the floor and sat beside her. As the ship rose into the sky, leaving the burning city below, the girl turned to him. She reached out and touched his arm. Not in fear, not in pain. But in thanks. Eli looked at her. "You're free now," he said. "Not for the first time." She smiled. The transport ship landed at a military base on a nearby moon. It was far from the war. but not far enough for peace. Eli sat on the floor of the med bay, watching over the girl. She was asleep, wrapped in a blanket. Her wounds had been cleaned and bandaged. A doctor had checked her, but said she was mostly weak and scared, more broken in spirit than in body. A commander came in, tall and serious. He looked at the girl, then at Eli. "Corporal Ward," he said, "we have orders. She's to be handed over to the science division." Eli stood up slowly. "She's not an object. She's a person." The commander's face didn't change. "Orders are orders. She's alien property now." Eli's voice got low. "She was a slave, not property. Not now, not ever." The commander didn't argue. He just said, "Be ready to move her in the morning." Then he left. Eli looked back at the girl. She was still sleeping. Her chest rose and fell slowly. Her name was Lyra. He had learned that from her drawings and broken words. That night, Eli sat beside her. He didn't sleep. He watched her breathe, thinking about the life she had come from. A life of fear, of chains, of silence. He thought about his own life. He had grown up in a small town on Earth. His parents were kind. They taught him to help others, but war had taken them. It had taken many things. And now, here he was older, tired, and still trying to do the right thing. The next morning, soldiers came. "She's coming with us," one said. Eli stood in front of the cot. "She's not going anywhere," the soldier frowned. "You know the rules, Ward." Eli looked at Lyra. She was awake now, eyes wide, holding the blanket tight. He turned back. "She's not going—" The soldiers looked at each other. "Then you're breaking orders." Eli didn't move. They left. Later that day, Eli got a new assignment, board the next transport to Earth. He was being sent home for medical leave. He knew it was a lie. He was being punished, but he also knew it was a chance. That night, he packed a small bag, food, water, a blanket. He told Lara to stay close. They walked through the base in the dark. Eli kept his head low. Lyra stayed behind him, quiet as a shadow. They reached the transport bay. A large ship sat waiting, full of soldiers heading home. Eli walked up to the officer in charge. "Boarding," the officer said. Eli nodded. "It's just me." He stepped forward, then the officer looked behind him. "Who's that?" Eli turned. Lyra had followed him. She was trying to hide, but not well. "She's my niece?" Eli said without pause. The officer raised an eyebrow. "She's not on the list. She's coming with me," Eli said. "Please." The officer looked at him for a long time. Then he nodded. "Get on." Eli took Lyra's hand and led her inside. They found 2 empty seats near the back. Lyra sat down, eyes wide with wonder and fear. The ship doors closed. Lights blinked. Engines roared. Then, with a loud hum, they lifted off. Eli looked out the window. The base got smaller. Then the moon. Then everything. They were flying home. Lyra looked at him. Her voice was soft. "We go to your home?" Eli smiled. "Yes, you'll see." She looked out the window too. For the first time, she was not in chains. She was not afraid. She was flying over the next few days. Lyra slowly opened up. She didn't speak much, but she asked questions, pointing at things, trying to say words. Eli taught her. "This is food," he said, handing her a sandwich. She tried. "It tastes good," he laughed. "Good." She pointed at the screen showing Earth. "Your home?" "Yes," Eli said. "It's blue, full of oceans and trees and people." She looked at him. "People like you?" Eli thought. "Mostly. Some not, but many are good." She nodded. "Like you." Eli looked at her. "You're not alone anymore, Lyra." She smiled. The ship landed on Earth 2 days later. As they stepped off, the air was warm. Birds flew overhead. Trees waved in the wind. Lyra looked around, eyes wide. "Beautiful," she whispered. Eli smiled. "Welcome home." Eli's home was a small village by the sea. It was quiet, with narrow roads, old houses, and people who knew each other by name. Lyra had never seen anything like it. She stepped off the transport bus and looked around wide-eyed. The air smelled like salt and flowers. Birds flew overhead. Children played on bikes. Dogs barked. People smiled when they saw Eli. "Welcome back, Corporal." One man called from a shop. Eli nodded. "Thanks, Mr. Hens." He led Lyra down the street. She walked slowly, looking at everything: trees, windows, signs. Even the way the wind moved the leaves. At the end of the road stood a small house with a white fence and a red roof. A swing hung from a tree in the yard. "This is home," Eli said. Lyra looked at it for a long time. Then she whispered, "Home." Inside, the house was warm and simple: wooden floors, a soft couch, pictures on the walls. Eli showed her around: the kitchen, the bathroom, a small room with a bed just for her. She touched the sheets. "Soft," she said. "You can sleep here," Eli told her. She sat on the bed, smiled. "Thank you." But living on Earth wasn't easy for her. Her body was made for a lighter world. Walking was hard. Her legs hurt. She tired quickly. The air was thicker than what she was used to. Sometimes she coughed. And the language, though she tried, was still hard. She mixed up words. People spoke too fast, but Eli was patient. He taught her slowly. Every morning he helped her walk outside. Every night they practiced speaking English. And slowly she began to learn. One day, Eli took her to meet his sister Mara. Mara was a teacher at the local school. She had kind eyes and a warm smile. When she saw Lyra, she didn't ask many questions. She just opened her arms and hugged her. "She's welcome here," Mara said. From that day on, Lyra went to the school every morning, not as a student, but as someone learning to live. Mara gave her books with pictures. She taught her how to write her name, how to count, how to say thank you and good morning. Other kids came around too. They were curious at first. Some stared, but soon they wanted to play. They showed her games. They drew pictures together. One boy gave her a flower. Lyra laughed more now, but not everything was easy. One afternoon, Lyra tried to swim in the ocean. She thought the water would be light, like on her planet. It wasn't. She sank. Eli ran into the water and pulled her out. She coughed and cried. "I'm sorry," she said. Eli held her close. "No need to be sorry. You're learning." Later that week, an old doctor named Mrs. Cole came by. "I heard she can't swim," Mrs. Cole said. Eli nodded. Double quotes. "Well," the old woman said, "then we teach her." She brought floats, a special suit, and the pool behind her house. Each day Lyra went there. She learned to float, to kick, to breathe. It took weeks, but finally she could swim. Not fast, not far, but enough. Enough to feel free. Word spread about Lyra. The town knew she wasn't from Earth, but they didn't care. They saw her walking with Eli. They saw her in the school, in the market, at the beach. She was part of the town now. One day, a mechanic named Tom built her a light frame, a harness, to help her walk easier. "It'll take some pressure off your legs," he said. She tried it, smiled. "Feels better," Tom grinned. "Good." Another day, a farmer gave her seeds. "Plant something," he said. She planted them in a small garden near the house. Weeks later, green shoots came up. Eli saw them and smiled. "You're growing things now," Lyra nodded. "Like new life?" Months passed. Lyra spoke more English now. Her sentences were short but clear. She could read simple books. She could write notes. She even helped Mara teach younger kids. Sometimes she told stories about stars, about her planet, about how she was once afraid, but not anymore. One evening, as the sun set over the sea, Lyra sat beside Eli on the porch. She looked at him. "You saved me," Eli looked back. "You made me want to keep saving people." She touched his hand. "I stay with you," Eli smiled. "Yeah, I think you will." Behind them, the lights of the town flickered on. Birds sang. The wind carried the smell of salt and flowers. And for the first time in a long time, both of them felt peace. The peace Lyra had found didn't last forever. One morning, Eli woke up to a knock on the door. It was early. Birds were still singing, and the sky was light blue. He opened the door. Two men stood there in dark uniforms. One spoke first. "Corporal Ward," he said. "We need to talk." Eli stepped outside, closing the door behind him. "We know about her," the man said. "She's being tracked." Eli frowned. "Who is?" "A bounty hunter. He came from space. Says she's wanted." Eli felt his stomach tighten. "She's not property," the second man nodded. "We know. But the government got involved." They want her taken into custody for her safety. Eli shook his head. No, she's not a citizen, the first man said. Legally, we can't. Protect her. Eli looked back at the house. Lyra was inside sleeping. I won't let them take her, he said quietly. The two men watched him for a moment. Then they left. Later that day, Eli told Lyra. She sat on the couch, eyes wide. Her hands shook. They come? She asked. Eli sat beside her. They might try. Lyra looked down. I go back to chains? No, Eli said firmly. Never again. But fear had returned to her eyes. That night a ship landed in the town, not a military one, a private one. A tall alien stepped out. His skin was black like stone. His eyes glowed red. He walked through the town with purpose. People stared. Some whispered. No one stopped him. He reached Eli's house just before sunset. Eli stood on the porch, arms crossed. The alien looked at him. You are protecting what is not yours. Eli didn't move. She's not a thing. She's a person. The alien tilted his head. She belongs to the Krell Tech. No, Eli said. She doesn't. The alien stepped forward. Return her or face consequences. Eli didn't blink. She's free now. Behind him, the door opened. Lyra stepped out. She wore a simple dress. Her hair was tied back. Her eyes were no longer full of fear. She looked at the alien and spoke in her own language, clear and strong. He listened, then he frowned. You do not understand, Lyra pointed at Eli. He saved me. I stay here. The alien looked between them. Then he turned and walked away. But the problem wasn't over. The next day soldiers came, not bounty hunters. Real ones? They arrived in trucks, wore helmets, carried guns. They stopped at the edge of town. A voice came through a speaker. This is an official order. Hand over the alien girl for transfer. Eli stood at the front of the house, Lyra beside him. Mara came too. So did Mrs. Cole, the doctor, and Tom, the mechanic, and many others. The whole town gathered behind Eli. A soldier stepped forward. Corporal Ward, you're breaking orders. Eli looked at the crowd behind him. At Mara, at Lyra. He took a deep breath. I will not hand her over, he said. She's not a prisoner. She's not a criminal. She's family. The soldier hesitated. Behind him, more townspeople stepped forward. Children held signs. Farmers stood tall. Teachers stood beside their students. One old man shouted, We won't let you take her. Another yelled, She's one of us. The soldier looked around. He tapped his radio. Then he sighed. Stand by. He turned and walked back to the truck. Inside the truck, things were not going well. Reporters had come. Cameras filmed everything. News spread fast. Across Earth, people saw the footage. Saw the town, saw Lyra. They heard how she had been a slave, how she had been freed, how she had learned to live, and how now someone wanted to take it all away. Public opinion turned quickly. Protests began in cities. People demanded the government leave her alone. Social media filled with messages. Let her stay. Humans should protect the weak. Slavery is wrong, always. Even scientists and diplomats started speaking up. This isn't just about her, one said. It's about what kind of species we want to be. Back in the village, the soldiers stayed. For 2 more days. Then they left. No fight. No arrest. Just silence. Eli stood at the gate as the trucks rolled away. Lyra came beside him. They gone? She asked. Eli nodded. Yes, she smiled. Because of us? Eli looked at the town. At the people who had stood beside them. Yes, he said, because of us. That night, the whole town celebrated. There was music, food, dancing. Lyra laughed as children pulled her into a circle. She spun with them, her feet light despite the heavy world. Eli watched from the side. Smiling. Mara came beside him. You did good, she said. Eli looked at her. We all did. She nodded. She's safe now. For now, Eli said. Mara smiled. That's enough. As the stars lit up the sky, Lyra sat beside Eli on the porch. She looked up. My planet, far away. Eli followed her gaze. Yeah, far. She looked at him. But this is my home now, Eli smiled. Yes, it is. Above them, the galaxy stretched wide, and somewhere in it, The past was fading. But hope was rising. Years passed, the world changed. Not all at once, but slowly, like a tide, Lyra grew taller. Her voice became stronger. Her smile brighter. She no longer walked with pain. With Tom's help, she had a special suit that made moving easier. She could run now, just a little. And she loved it. She spoke English fluently. She even taught others her language. Some kids in school learned to say, "Thank you," and "friend" in her tongue. Eli watched her grow with pride. He still lived in the same house by the sea. But now it was more than just a home. It had become something else. A place of hope. One day a letter came. It was from the government. Eli opened it carefully. It said, "We recognize Lyra as a legal resident of Earth. She has been granted full rights and protection under human law." Eli read it twice. Then he smiled. He went outside, where Lyra was helping Mara teach children how to draw stars in the sand. He handed her the letter. She read it slowly. Then her eyes lit up. She looked at Eli. "I belong here?" Eli nodded. "You always did." She hugged him tight. Behind them, the children cheered. Word spread again, but this time, it wasn't about fear or war. It was about change. Other alien refugees began arriving on Earth, escaping slavers, escaping war, looking for safety, and many came to the small village by the sea. Eli helped build a new center not just for Lyra, but for others like her. It was called the Sanctuary. There they found food, shelter, teachers, doctors, and most of all freedom. Lyra worked there every day, talking, teaching, helping. She told her story often. "I was afraid," she would say. "I was alone. I didn't know if I could trust anyone." Then she would look out at the crowd. "But one man showed me kindness. And because of that, I found a home." People listened, they cried. They believed. One evening, Eli sat on the porch with Lyra. The sun was setting. The sea shimmered with golden light. She looked at him. "You saved me," Eli smiled. "You saved yourself." She shook her head. "No, you were first. You gave me hope." Eli looked at the sky. "Hope's nothing without someone to share it with." They sat in silence for a while. Then Lyra asked, "Do you ever think about your past?" Eli thought. He remembered his parents, his old life, the wars he had fought. "I used to think I'd lost everything," he said. That I had nothing left." He looked at her. "Now I know I was wrong," she smiled. "And what about your people?" he asked. "Your homeworld?" Her face turned serious. "Most are gone or hiding or still slaves," Eli nodded. "But maybe not forever." She looked at him. "You think we can save them?" "I think we can try," he said. She touched his arm. "Together." He nodded. "Together." Over the next few years, the sanctuary grew. More houses were built, more teachers came. More refugees arrived, and more humans stood beside them, not just in the village. Across Earth. People started speaking out. Schools taught about other species. Laws changed. Cities opened their arms. It wasn't perfect. There were still those who feared the unknown, but more chose to care, more chose to help, more chose to believe in kindness. One night, Lyra stood on the beach alone. The wind blew gently. The stars blinked above. She looked up and whispered in her own language a prayer or a memory. Then she smiled. Behind her, Eli joined her. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes, I am." He stood beside her, looking at the sky. "Do you think they'll find us?" he asked. She thought. "Maybe, but when they do, they'll see something good," he smiled. "Yeah, they will." Years later, a ship landed near the village. Not a soldier, not a hunter, a diplomat. From a new alien alliance. They came not to take, but to talk. To thank. And to ask for help. They met Lyra first. She greeted them in both languages, with warmth, with strength. With peace. In the quiet corners of the galaxy, far from war and chains, two souls had found each other. And through them, something bigger had begun. Something simple, something powerful, something true. Kindness.